Isaiah chapter 34 and verses 16. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua and read. No one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate. For my mouth it had commanded, and his spirit it had gathered them. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praises, all honor, all glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Ruach HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who do rule well. Peace, blessing to the sincere Akim, mainly the elect brethren who pushing this truth on the four corners of the earth, giving all diligence to make the calling and election sure. This is the brother Kwana from the Great Millstone Camp, Trinidad, coming once again to the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai to do a lesson, Lord willing it edifying to the Lord's elect. And this is the Trump administration, alright, freezing the federal funding, alright, and we're just gonna go through this because this is gonna lead up to prophecy. Alright, I was reading through the article, and we're gonna tap into it through the spirit, because this is the man, Lord willing, who we're gonna see that he's ultimately going to bring in, alright, that RFID microchip. More prophecy based upon that, because the scripture the Lord had me start off with in Isaiah 34 and 16, where it says, seek ye out of the book, alright, and read, none shall want to meet, goes into these prophecies. And these prophecies are popping off like popcorn, alright, they are taking full effect, and they are laying hold upon the world right now. And the world is about to be tried via the hands of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, as he have sent forth his prophets as his ministry to prophesy and to make his word accomplish. Alright, as he said, he make us his mouthpiece. So as far as we speaks, the Lord's acts. Alright, the king's heart is in the hands of the Lord. So we want to tap into this article a little bit. Alright, because since the Trump administration have came into inauguration on the 20th of January, a series of things have been happening. Alright, they had an app designated for like immigrants, people who used to come into America, and these different sorts of things, that they could have used to do whatever application and whatnot and come in. He shut that down. Alright, they had another platform where they would have been receiving food cards and whatnot. He shut that down. Alright, and here he comes, alright, with the Trump memo to halt federal funds, triggers confusion and consensual questions. So I just wanna show a quick imagery, because I looked up, where the Federal Reserve, or the federal foreign assistant, to how far, alright, it spans to, and it ultimately goes to the Latin America and the Caribbean. So we have a little map right here, right? There's a little map showing Latin America and the Caribbean. So if you zoom in a little closer, you're gonna see a little box right here, like a little island of Venezuela. That is Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago is part of that federal funding, alright, federal funding grants that America provides to Latin America and the Caribbean. So with this being done, right, it's ultimately heading, alright, as you're going to read the article through the spirit, the Trump administration having Dr. Oz and Mark, or Salak, the one who have the new link, the name slipped my head right now, right? These people pushing forward to that agenda, which our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, alright, have been speaking on, and we ourselves have entered into that labor, and the Lord have put it within our spirits, alright, to speak upon it. Now they have different criteria, as I was reading through the article here, that they want to come and address, that they're gonna bring out probably next day or so. Alright. So we're gonna read through this article, and Lord willing, we're gonna bring precepts and be edifying to the flock of the nation of Israel. Alright, as the scripture says, I will stand upon my watch. Alright. So it says Trump memo to halt federal funds triggers confusion and Constitutional questions. It says President Trump has promised to greatly crucial the federal government, and memo released Monday by the Office of Management and Budget aims to follow through on that promise by halting a large swath of federal grant programs. It says federal agencies, states, and other organizations that receive money from the federal government are scrambling to understand the details of a new Trump administration memo that appears to halt federal funding and grant programs. The impact of the short memo released Monday is causing widespread confusion because there's a lot of people on a wide scale, all right, upon the face of the earth gets aid, all right, from these things, all right. Get food feeding program. Down here we'll have the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force (TTPS) under the Operation of Disaster Management Program. All right, all these different fundings, allies with these organizations. All right, I had an article earlier on, but I kind of lost it. I can't find it back right now. All right, that made me find this one and jump into it to the spirit. It says, nevertheless, it says the memo obtained by NPR says a temporary pause in funding takes effect at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday. But a senior, which is today's Tuesday, so at 5 p.m., all right, that is going to kick in. It says, but a senior administration official told NPR that the pause could be as short as a day if an agency demands its program are in compliance. The senior official said the directive should not be interpreted as a full funding freeze. All right? So he's making it clear. He says the official, who was not authorized to publicly discuss the internal memo, said that the agencies are supposed to review their grants, loans, and programs to ensure that they align with the new administration priorities. And now, as a lot of things wasn't discussed, all right, concerning the internal memo, and already knowing that Trump, right, and his wife and his alliances and his senates, they are pushing for a digital, all right, currency, as he want to mega America again. All right, but that mega is going to bring America to great destruction. Thus says Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Once they implement a mandatory digital system to run their currency and systems that the so-called citizens going to have to live by, which ultimately is going into prophecy, which the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai says that he's going to destroy that place when that happens. All right, because they're going to try to push that ship in the Lord's elect. All right, and as you can see right now, presently, a lot of agents popping up amongst the body. All right, spying out our liberty, trying to stop these men from speaking, because the things we are speaking is things that they are about to play out. Because guess what? We come, thus says Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. All right, so reading on, it says several states are already signaling plans to challenge the policy in court. New York Attorney General Letitia James said her office would be taking imminent legal action in posts on X, formerly known as Twitter. It says the memo follows dozens of executive orders signed by President Trump over the past week. These documents include calls for reviews of various programs and funding. Trump has explicitly said all Dell programs should be halted, for example, and is generally pushing for more government efficiency and less spending by the federal government. The new administration is also seeking to make broad change to the federal workforce. Right? Critics call the demand for a funding freeze unlawful because Congress has already approved the money to be spent by the administration in agreeing that this action is not fully impoundment and instead a temporary review. It says House Republican lawmakers force questions about separation of powers and impacts of orders. Right? House Republicans are currently gathered for annual party retreat, a meeting that is being held at Trump's Doral Resort in Miami. Trump spoke to lawmakers on Monday, and Vice President J.D. Vance is expected to address the group on Tuesday. Nebraska Republican Rep. Don Bacon was among those who disagreed with the order. I hope it's short-lived because there are real people that depend on these grants, he told reporters outside the conference. Bacon said he's already heard concerns from the people in his district and repeated that he hoped it was temporary, saying there is no reason for the disruption, right? That is what he's saying. There is no reason for the disruption. Because he said there is plenty people that is what? Depending on this grant. Depending on these grants. Alright? And this is what the enemy is ultimately doing. I want to go to the book of Luke. Before I go there, there's Revelation 13 and verses 11. It says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon," which just goes into, the revived Roman Empire, all right, which is America, aka Babylon the Great. And within their empire, all right, there is one who's speaking, right, as a lamb, right, who had two horns like a lamb, and he speaks as a dragon. So you're seeing these draconian measures, all right, they're starting to rule out, cut off the borders, cut off this, cut off that, all right, and they're going to come in with that subtlety, with that device, all right. They're going to come in with that device. It's only 8 days since he have been inaugurated in, and these are the things that he have done. If you look at America right now, it's all in turmoil, all right. People unable to go in, people unable to get access to the grants, and these different things. And as I said, people that are dependent. So what is happening right now is that the scripture being fulfilled in the book of Luke, all right. I will need to get my sword for this. Luke chapter 19. I want to go to Luke 19 chapter. Right? Luke chapter 19 and verses 43. Because all these things is what you would call a besiege. Alright? He's starting to put the people in a position of difficulty. Alright? It says, Luke chapter 19 and verses 43 says, "For the day shall come upon thee, that thy enemy shall cast a trench," and that is what you're seeing happening, "about thee, and compass thee round about, and keep thee in on every side." So when they start to take away your grants that most people lived on, all right, of aid of the government, all right, they start to take away the resources that they're unable to provide for themselves. That is the enemy crashing a trench before you. And when you go into the word trench, it carries you back to Caracas, right? It says a pale or stake palisade, all right? A palisade or rampart, placed between which earth, stones, trees, and timbers, and heaped are packed together, right? To sharpen to a point, right? Carasso, to sharpen to a point akin to, through the idea of scratching. A stake, that is, by implication, a palisade or rampart, military mound for circumvallation in a siege. So now they're going to put the people in a position of difficulty, right? That if they cross over that palisade, if they want to be part of this, they're going to have to get scratched and ultimately receive that mark, right? Because when it goes into palisade, it carries it back to grapho, right? It says to write with reference to the form of the letters, right? To write with reference to contents of writing, to express in written characters, to commit, to write, use of those things which stand writing in the scared books, right? To write to one, to draw up in a writing compass, right? To grave, especially to write. So they wanna put the people in a position of difficulty to grave that mark upon them. All right. The the besieging them in surroundings that they're unable to get certain things. And the scripture speaks about a besiege in the book of Ezekiel, I believe is in the 3rd chapter. Alright, it speaks about a besiege. Even in the time of Judith. You know, when they had nation of Israel on top of the mountain that they couldn't come down for water and these different things. Alright? As the scripture says, there is no new thing under the heaven. This is the same thing that happened back then. It's happening now. But at this time, this is the last merry-go-round, alright, for Mystery Babylon, which is America, aka the Great, to fulfill, alright, to fulfill the works, alright, ultimately leading to their destruction, alright, and even to 2/3 of the Lord people, and to those who receive that mark, they also going to be destroyed, alright. Thus says Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. It says, going back to the book of Luke 19 and verse 43, it says, for the day shall come, alright, the day shall come. The Lord had us start off in the book of Isaiah 34 and 16, right? Where what's seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read, none of these shall want her mate. Alright? It says, Salak. Alright? Salak, yeah, about that. It says that thy enemy shall cast a trench about thee and compass thee round about. Right? Let's look the word compass. Right? To encircle, compass, about of a city besieged. And as you can see, a lot of these people are starting to have worries like, hey, what going on there? You understand? Because they're looking up to Big Daddy for that help. But Big Daddy is coming to ultimately pierce you because you're not putting your trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. You're not putting your trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And a lot of these people don't trust in the Lord. And they who not trusting in the Lord, they're ultimately going to receive that mark. Let's go to the book of Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 36. Right? It says, lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed. Hey, Babylon ultimately is already broken. It's just a matter of time, alright, for her great brokenness to be showed. But we know Babylon is finished. Alright, the currency of Babylon, the economy of Babylon, the debts, as the scripture goes in, the mud that they are in, the thick debts, the mud represent that thick debts that they are in. There's no coming out. Alright, there's no coming out. The only thing for Babylon, the only thing that could be done unto Babylon is to be destroyed. So there is Isaiah 36 and 6. It says, lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt. You know? It says, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, to all that trust in him. Alright? So they're ultimately going to lean. They're going to look for that support. They're going to look for that help. Alright? Let's look at the word lean. Lean, lay rest, support, put, uphold, lean upon, to learn or lay upon, rest upon, lean against, to support, uphold, sustain. So right now, a lot of them going to look to the government sector, the government system to give them sustain, to give them aid, to give them help. Alright? But these who are going to receive that mark is those whose names are not written in the Lamb's book of life. Alright? Predestined before the foundation of the earth to be destroyed. So these strategic move that the Trump administration is doing from the time of inauguration to now, which is only 8 days, alright, a lot of things they have done and been doing. And a lot more is going to come. A lot more is going to come. Alright? This is the book of 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verses 41. Because this is the act they want to put on in the time of Antiochus Epiphanes. Alright? Who was the son. His father was Philip the Macedonian. Right? This is what he did in that time. 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 41. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. And that is what he ultimately want to do. He want to make America great, and I want to control everything. I want to set up this and I want to set up that. Alright? Because you want to bring in the digital system and you want to do this. It says, and everyone should leave his laws and and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yet many also of the Israelites consent to his religion and sacrifice unto idols and profane the Sabbath. Many of our people, all right, going to ultimately receive that mark. And many of the heathens going to receive that mark. All right? And those who are in that landmass of Babylon, aka America the Great, they're going to be destroyed with nuclear turmoil fire. And those who are not there, great swords and the angels going to come and slay. Because this thing is going to come upon the four corners of the earth. All right? Even locally here is also part of that federal funding where I reside in Trinidad and Tobago. I saw an article earlier on, so lucky I'm unable to get it in the video. Right? But basically, it's a concern. It's a concern. So, I want to go back to the article. As we showed earlier on, the Caribbean and Latin America, all right, and even America, right, who benefits from the federal grants, right? It says, this is Beacon, right, a representative of the Republican. He says, I hope it is a short-lived because there are real people that depend on these grants, he told reporters outside the conference. Beacon said he's already heard concerns from people in his district and repeated that he hoped it was temporary, saying there is no reason for the disruption. Pressed on the legality of order, Beacon said he is not a lawyer but noted that Congress approved grants. The grants. I don't know. He says, I don't how they can just stop. Well, I don't know which I say, but basically, I don't know how they can just stop it. Right? He said, end quote. He pointed to the example of a woman who runs a before school and after school program that is funded in part by a federal grant and said, obviously, it affects her ability to do that job. Right? So now you're starting to see people's livelihoods going to be affected. All right? People's livelihoods going to be affected. And they're going to ultimately give in. Because the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is going to ultimately make these prophecies increase. Alright? And this is going to bring also Jacob trouble. Jacob trouble is a real thing. Jacob, hear the name. The Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Hispanics, you all are going to go through a turmoil upon the face of the earth. But the scripture says, but Jacob shall be saved. And that Jacob it speaks about shall be saved goes into the elect, those who put their trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Right? It says, he pointed to the example of a woman who runs a before school and after school program that is funded in part by a federal grant and said, obviously, it affects her ability to do that job. Long term, it means people will have to shut down their programs, and so this stuff has already been appropriated. So I believe it will be short term and should be Beacon said. That is what he said. Right? Nobody knows what they're going to say after from today. Alright? And that is ultimately going to bring in inflation. It's going to bring in hyperinflation. Alright? It says Republican leaders have not addressed the federal order freezing federal grants during Tuesday's program, according to the multiple GOP attendances. Says Rep. Franz Hill Ark said he hadn't read the order. I think the president, under his executive order, has the right to look at spending by category appropriated by Congress, makes sure he understands how it's been implemented under Article 2. So that's basically going into the law and why he hold this and why he hold that and the other. But hey, we prophets of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, Lord willing, we part of the Lord elect, we out here to prophesy. Alright? And we know the agenda these people own. You know? Why all of a sudden you have come into that, bam, and you come into this, bam, and you come into the other. You know? Hey, the Lord sent us here as watchmen. Alright? The Lord sent us here as watchmen, and that's what we out here to do. We out here to give warning to the people. For those who receive that mark, they're going to feel the wrath of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Alright? So hopefully this lesson was edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rocha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the lesser great millstone who do rule well. Peace, blessing to the sincere Akim. May the elect version pushing the truth on the four corners of the earth, giving all diligence to make the calling and election sure. Shalom. Mawat lababal abad babal.